Hello, everybody. I am Valerie Green, and I'm a relationship coach who empowers women to inspire their men to deeper love, intimacy, and passion. And I'm very excited to be interviewing my friend and colleague, Alison LeBrun, today, because Alison is a very gifted energy healer and coach, and I'll introduce her in a moment. I just have a wonderful personal connection with Alison because she's given me a couple of energy clearing sessions that have really allowed me to access my own creativity and intuition and get in touch with my own power. So I thought I would bring Alison on and interview her so that my community can get a feel for the magic that Alison brings. So I'll read a little bit about Alison to you guys, and then I will, I can't wait to engage Alison and ask questions. But hi, Alison.
Hey, Val. Hey, everyone. It's great to be here.
Yay. And it's great to have you here. So Alison is a soul coach and an energy healer. So what that means is that she supports empathic creatives like myself and like I imagine a lot of you are, with reconnecting to their true self so they can live their empowered and aligned life. So she spent over 10 years training and being certified in various different modalities. She's been mentored and studied with top coaches and practitioners and has the unique gift of being able to see and sense and feel held emotions. And she has the ability to feel held belief systems and energies in people's bodies to help them release them. And when working with clients, she's passionate about meeting them and meeting you where you're at and supporting you in discovering your toolbox and unique life path. She's also the creator of Magic Hour and Mind Body Soul Workout for empathic creatives. And she created it for herself first. And she wanted a simple solution to support her in staying grounded and living a creatively vibrant life as a highly sensitive person. So she's here to be a spark of play, creativity, and vibrancy in this playground of a world. Yay. I just love and totally. I can attest that.
Because my cat is... my cat, if you hear my cat crying, it's his like typical playtime right now. So he's demanding that I play with him, and I'm like, sorry, Dingo, I'll play with you in an hour.
Right, exactly.
But he might have to join us. So yeah, thanks so much for introducing me. It's awesome to be here. It's really awesome to be here.
Yeah, and it's great to have you, and I want to attest that you really walk your talk and you're just a joy to be around because, you know, you just radiate the light that you help others to get in touch with. So
I have to say it's created. I mean, I think I was light and bright, but I definitely went through a period in my teens and most of my 20s where I was just so weighed down with so much heavy emotion and a lot of negative thinking. And I mean, now I know a lot of energy, heavy, dense energy. And I knew that wasn't who I was, but I was like, kind of went on a mission of how do I become that light, bright person that I know I used to be, when I was little. So Thanks for saying that that's your experience of me, because that means a lot, because I'm like, okay, the work, it works. It really works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'd love to ask you more about your journey. Before we start, I just encourage those who are watching to share your name and where you're from and what you're looking forward to getting out of today's interview. And if you have any questions, because we really want to help the women that are showing up on the call and the men if they're showing up. So I encourage you to type your name into the chat and if you have any questions that we can answer. And then, of course, I'll ask Alison the questions that I have, and everyone can be inspired by those. So, and there is the opportunity as well, if you have a question for Alison, that she can tune into your energy if you're watching this live and give you a free clearing. But she only does that by permission. So, you have to ask. I did have one woman asking if you were going to tune into everyone's energy and clear it without them asking. And I said, of course not. You only work by permission.
Yeah, definitely by permission. It would be out of integrity. You could actually do more harm by trying to, obviously, like with coaching, it's the same thing. Trying to coach someone that doesn't want it or hasn't asked for it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just want to affirm that to everyone who's watching, that if someone asks and they show up live for you to tune into them, then you can tune into them, and that can be exciting. But if they don't ask, then you won't. So
Yes.
Get that out
Please
there.
ask. Raise
Yes,
your hand or comment. Yeah, just comment in the box. Yeah. And then we can see.
exactly. So yeah, why don't you share more about your journey to become an energy healer? Because I know that you were saying that you were held down by negative energy in the past. So what was that like, and how did you transform it?
Yeah, it was horrible. Honestly, I think most of us can relate to that. It's like we all have a light, bright part of ourselves that's connected to infinite possibilities. And, especially if that's like truly who you are, to be weighed down is the worst. I mean, I literally walked around for a long time feeling like, I was dead. I really felt like half
Yeah.
dead, just didn't even really want to be here on planet Earth. I mean, I wasn't going to make any rash decisions about that, but I just felt like this isn't a place for me. I don't belong here and I don't know where I can quite fit in. So it was definitely really challenging because, on the same token, I also knew that I had gifts and I always would say, I have something to share, but I don't know what it is. Like, there's something I'm here to share, but I don't know what it is, or something I'm here to do, but I don't know what it is. And, being weighed down with all that negative energy, and also carrying around a lot of thought patterns and having a mindset that wasn't supporting the energy and was also kind of having the negative energy get bigger, was really blocking me from being present to all my gifts. So,
Right, because it's a negative cycle when you get caught in those negative thought patterns, and then what you put your focus on, you get more of, right?
yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
sure we have all gone through that, and I can certainly resonate with everything that you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of listeners can too. And, I know you work with women and relationships. And I know for me, it was really hard to meet an awesome guy when I was caught up in that, negative thinking and carrying around a lot of old emotions from my past. So, yeah, as soon as I started working to release those and started changing my habits with my mindset, that shifted for me. And I met an amazing guy who is a sweetheart. And
I know he
yeah,
is. Yeah. So, what was your biggest transformation? Like, how would you describe how you shifted out of that negative into the positive, into reconnecting with who you truly were?
that's a great question. I think obviously there's never just one moment. There's like layers. So I feel like if I were to think of it in sort of the different ways that I work with people on a body level, my biggest transformation was discovering yoga. And that
Mm.
happened when I was 18. My dad took me to a yoga class, and I'll never forget how I felt at the end of that first yoga class. Like, I literally felt my body and I felt at peace in my body, I think, for the first time ever. I could just see that contrast. So, on a body level, that was discovering yoga, and then later, world dance in my 20s. On an emotional level, in my early 20s, I found an amazing therapist, and she did something called Hakomi therapy. And
Oh
uh,
yeah, I love Haikumi.
it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, she really made a massive impact on my life and supported me in learning how to actually like feel my emotions and, let them be in my body and observe them. So and then she actually led me to some personal growth and development training that was more of like a mindset program. So on a mindset level, that I spent 6 years doing that. And then that led me to the energy level. And it was interesting because I had done a lot of work and had a lot of breakthroughs in my life, but I still wasn't, well, I was clear in that I wanted to make a difference. I wanted my work to be aligned with making a difference and using my gifts of coaching and wanting to help people in creativity and expression to do that. But I wasn't doing it. I was always getting stopped by myself, So while I
Mm.
had a lot of great mindset tools, I noticed that I was very easily stopped. And I think probably the most massive transformation for me was when I discovered body talk and energy healing. And I realized that while I knew a lot and I cognitively knew a lot about my patterns and I knew how to identify myself when I was in a pattern. I was literally carrying around energies that were making it really hard. Like when resistance would come up, I wasn't only resisting that moment, but I was resisting every other moment energetically that was similar to that. And so when I
Right.
started to clear the patterns on an energetic level, it didn't mean that I wouldn't still get stopped by fear, but I was able to move through it more, like with a lot more ease. And I was able to move through my patterns with a lot more ease. So
Yeah.
that was like, in terms of energy, the most pivotal. Yeah.
Which totally makes sense why that's what you do with your clients now. And I can attest to that. When I have sessions with you and old stuff comes up and we clear it, I just feel so much lighter.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with everyone, because I know that we're eager to know what are the 3 mistakes that empathic creative people make that really keep them stuck in those negative patterns.
Yeah. So 3 mistakes, and I know them intimately because I work with them with myself every day. So the first one would be feeling somebody else's feelings and thinking it's ours. So it's like getting wrapped up in another human being's feelings. And, both you and I live in a city where it can be very easy to be feeling someone else's feeling and think it's yours, because it could be your neighbors, or it could be the person you
Right.
walk by in the street, or who knows, like a taxi cab full of people. So that would be like the first major mistake. The second mistake is not knowing how to release these feelings. So not having tools and practices and awareness about how you can easily release the feelings. Because I think there's a lot out there on the internet and tons of information of different ways that you can release emotion and release energy. So it's really just about discovering like which tools work for you and
Yeah,
which tools
exactly.
resonate for you, because there's a lot of different ways to clear energy. But some of those ways resonate for me and some of them don't. And my clients are all different. So when I work with people, I really support them in like aligning with what really works for you. And then the third biggest mistake is not having your own rituals, especially a morning routine that grounds you into you at the beginning of the day, so that you can walk outside and no matter what's coming at you, you're clear on, okay, this is me though. I'm me, and that's out there, or that's coming towards me, or I let that in and I can let it go. So having really powerful mindset and energetic and physical practices that you do, especially in the morning time.
I agree. I can personally attest to that.
Yeah.
And I know that you have your practice, and I know I have my practice. It's so important to just ground in your own energy, especially as an empath.
Yes. It's so important. And to do it throughout the day. I would say like the bonus is do it consistently throughout the day. And it can take real commitment. But if you're super empathic, it's one of the things I've had to accept about myself. It's just got to be part of my daily life. It just has to be. Otherwise, I will be grumpy,
Mm-hmm.
cranky, self-sabotaging, eating junk, like grabbing ice cream and sweets just to kind of soothe myself because I'm carrying around someone else's like anger or fear. Yeah.
Right, right, exactly. And it can be as simple as just once you recognize you're carrying around someone else's anger or fear, just literally sending it back, right?
Yeah, it totally can be that simple. Really can be. Or if you have a spiritual practice or practice to a higher power, asking them to take it away for you, so then you don't have to do any work, and they'll happily, or hug a tree. Truly, like, I mean, how it's so amazing spending a day in nature or after a day at the beach, right? How do you feel after laying on the beach in the sand all day and swimming in the ocean? It feels so
Mhm.
good at the end of the day,
Definitely, yeah,
right?
'cause you're definitely replenished by that larger force of nature.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
earth wants to absorb the heavy, dense energy. It actually likes to absorb it. So there's a lot of these things like grounding where they say walk barefoot in the dirt, and there's real truth to that. It definitely, if you're someone out there that's really struggling today and you just feel heavy and yuck, go and sit and lean up against a tree and read a book for an hour if you can, or go hug a tree or go like put your feet in the grass and dig in there, and you'll feel a lot better. I mean, don't take my word for it. I'd suggest you try it
Right,
and then
right,
see how
exactly.
it feels.
definitely. And if that doesn't work, then there are more involved practices, and maybe if we have time in the end, you could lead people through them. Um, so yeah, you talk a lot about life force energy. So I'm curious to hear you describe what is life force energy and why is it especially important that empathic creatives connect to it?
Yeah, life force energy is the energy that we feel when we feel really good, right? So, like, we're talking about spending a day at the beach, and just if you can think about, close your eyes and think about how that feels to you, that aliveness, the vibrancy, and life force energy runs through everything that's alive on the planet. So, trees, flowers, it's literally the energy that creates life. And so when I first started doing yoga, that's when I really discovered that it was in me and that I could actually activate it. I didn't know. I knew before yoga that I had times when I felt really alive and good. And I was always seeking and trying to figure out the formula to get to that good feeling. I was like, oh, last time I was dancing on the beach with my friends, so maybe I'll do that, and that's how I'll feel good. And it wasn't until I found yoga and found yogic breathing and really learned about, yoga goes really deep into the prana, they call it prana, life force energy. I discovered, oh, this is actually something like a switch. I can turn it on and I can
Yeah.
turn it off.
Mm-hmm,
And that's so powerful to really, and I know you've done a lot of yoga and tantra practices, and a lot of the work you do is working with that too. And it really comes back to like how our life force energy is always there. It's always inside of us. It's just a matter of whether we're allowing it to flow, whether we're connected to it, and are we allowing it to flow, or are we shutting it down?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And so is there a simple way for people to connect with their life force energy? I know that we're all really busy and running around, and so what is a really simple way for people that are, leading busy urban lives to connect to the life force energy?
I think the breath is the simplest. If you're running around in the city like we live in the New York City area, it's not that weird to take a couple deep breaths. Like it's definitely, you can do that without looking. I mean, I have a lot of tools that involve like tapping on the body and I don't know, swirling your hips. But if you're trying to be incognito and you're on the subway
Yeah,
and you need to
exactly.
reconnect to yourself, you could take 3 big breaths. But like really truly um take them really like slowly and fully, and allowing yourself to actually experience the the inhaling and the exhaling. So there's like, I'm going to take 3 big breaths because this is going to fix me, or
Right, exactly.
to enjoy and like pleasurably take a full 2 minutes to breathe in and out. And I mean, and that could go with, if you're walking in the city somewhere, so you're going in between meetings, taking a moment to pause and just look at the sky or look at a tree, because trees, nature is full of life force energy, so taking a moment when we look at a flower or tree, or when we're hanging out with our pet or cat or dog, or you see an animal and you look into their eyes, immediately that will activate that.
Yeah,
There are a few.
those are great suggestions.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, because it's always there. It's just whether or not we're actually, in our mind thinking, or whether we're in our body really aware of the life force energy. And
Yeah.
so I encourage our listeners, even right now, to just imagine taking a few deep breaths, but not just because it's good for you, but really enjoying the breath caressing your lungs as you're breathing it in. And
Mm. Yeah, and feeling like how there's so much expansiveness in each moment. As we like really feel the breath, it's like you can feel time expanding truly. Like each moment is full of so much life and so many possibilities. And when we take time to really slow down whatever we're doing, whether it's like just slow your steps down for 10 steps, or slow your breathing down for 5 breaths, or slow the talking down. I know that's something I have to get better at, is slow down the talking a little bit. um that, that's because that's the pace that life force energy is working at. It's way more efficient than most of us are.
Right, exactly.
For sure. I'm like, I'm going to do these 20 things right now. And it's not always very efficient. But if I like take time to really approach it with just like a slowness and mindfulness, I find that I can do stuff way quicker and way smarter than my mind will make me think is possible.
Yes, I agree with that.
It's a
Yeah,
so if
exactly.
you're out there listening and you're like, but I've tried that and I tried it 10 times and my life didn't change, well, try it 10 million more times. Like, because I'm going to do it. I'll be right there with you doing it. And so will Val. We'll both be right there. Like,
Well, exactly. And I do think that, yeah, I do think that mindset has so much to do with it. Like the mindset with which you're coming back to yourself and centering in yourself and being aware of your own life force energy as opposed to taking on everyone else's stuff. And so I know you want to speak to a mindset shift that really helps you to reclaim your power.
yeah, absolutely. So yes, I one of the things I love about the way that I've kind of developed working, because I've worked with a lot of coaches over the years, and I always thought there was like one answer, like it's just this one thing. Like if I could just create this one new possibility, everything. But then I realized it's actually like cross training, when you cross train, you're engaging all your muscles in your different body systems. So mindset is another piece of how I like to work. And mindset, it's true. We can change the way we feel in our body by taking 3 slow breaths. But if our mind is a mess, and we're thinking about how horrible people are, how evil that person in the group, I don't know, who knows, like what, if we're aligned with some thinking that's really negative, like judging or, just hateful thinking, then that can really block us too. So it's definitely a piece in the puzzle that's really key. And I really took on, it was actually recently, like within the last year and a half, I took on not ever gossiping, like ever.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I just really took to the next level. Like, I'm just not going to gossip. And it was not that I was super gossipy before, but it was more just kind of like a cultural thing, that you do with your friends. Like maybe you talk about what this person's doing or that person's doing. And I really just took on like, I'm just not going to do it. Cause it's just one of my mentors just said, it's just a low vibration energy. Like it doesn't create anything, you're not creating in the moment. If you're talking about what someone else is doing, even if you're talking about something nice, it's like, you're just not creating in the moment. So that and judging, I mean, of course, it's the mind's habit to always judge everything and anything. But I really just took on, anytime I saw myself judging, connect to the light and just connect to the light. I mean, that's what I do. I just connect to the light. I just connect to a higher vibrating source of energy, because it's like, again, judgment isn't going to create anything new in my life. It's not going to, and it keeps me separate. It keeps me disconnected from, again, life force energy. So yes, mindset. I mean, those are a couple mindset tools that people right now could take on. Go on a judgment cleanse and a gossip cleanse.
Right, exactly. Because our mind, even though we can hold a lot of thoughts at once, we can only really focus on one thing at a time. So if you're judging, you're not creating what you want. And I always like to teach that underneath our judgments, there's a desire. Like if, someone knocks into you on the street, let's say, and you're like, that idiot, whatever your judgment is, it's, it's like you desire, what are you desiring in that moment? You're probably desiring consideration, right? Um,
I
but
love
it's like if I'm judging, it's because there's a desire underneath. And as soon as I connect to the desire instead, I'm reconnected to what I can create. How can I create more consideration then? That's the only thing I have control over is what I'm creating, right? Not what someone else is doing.
totally. I love that. Oh my God, I'm going to start teaching. I'm going to start using that. Can I borrow?
Oh, okay, great. I mean,
It's
because
cool because
that's
you
what
don't
I,
judge yourself for judging, like
right,
you
exactly.
have
But
to,
it's like,
judge a friend for judging. You know, if you make a commitment to go on a judgment cleanse with your friends and then it becomes like, ah, you're judging, you're bad, but
Right,
then you're
exactly.
judging. So that doesn't work. So yeah, I love that. What's the desire underneath? That's juicy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And creation is all about desire, right? It's like that's what I'm hearing you say when you say connecting to the light, you know, because the light is just your pure creative energy. And so, what do you want to create with it, you know, is what we can come to when we're judging. There's always an unmet desire underneath, you know?
I love that. That's so juicy. That would be a fun little mini like 21-day program to like do a judgment cleanse, but like practice also every time you judge, ask yourself, but what's my desire? That's
I
juicy.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to make a note of that. And
Yeah.
maybe we can create something together on that. That'd be fun. um, so yeah, I mean, what happens? I want to come back to this concept of empathics really owning their power. So I just want to go into what happens when we allow other people's thoughts and energy into our reality, and how do we know whether it's ours or theirs?
Mm. Yeah, that's a great question. So, what happens is we essentially become whatever energy it is that they've taken on. So, if you've ever had the experience, if you're listening out there and you've had the experience where you've walked in a room and all of a sudden you just feel intense anger, or intense
Mm-hmm.
sadness, it's most likely because you are picking up on somebody else's feeling. Because if you weren't feeling that when you walked in the room, that's what's happening. So, oh, cool. Angel's popping in with a question. So, Angel, I will answer your question after I see this. So, yeah, so the way that I do it is I ask a lot of questions. Like I just ask, is this mine or somebody else's? And if it's
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's, then I just say thank you, but no thank you. It's not my job to carry this for you. And also remembering you're not helping the person by taking it on for them. You're actually
Right.
limiting them. You're limiting their growth. It's their job. You can't clear or you can't up level an emotion or a belief system that isn't yours. So sending it back is always the best. Um and you know, if you get sometimes I'll get percentages, like I'll ask what percentage of this is mine and what percentage of this is somebody else's. So, you know, sometimes like 80% mine, 20% somebody else's. Okay, send the 20% back. And then how do I release I just always ask. The way that I like to work is I ask my guides, show me what is the next very simple, easiest, most fun action that I can take to shift my vibration, to shift the state that I'm in. And so that's where I don't love to align with, like, you know, this is the right way, that's the wrong way. Because in any given moment, the right way could be anything. And if we ask our guides to show us, well, they have access to like unlimited possibilities. So who
Right,
knows? You might be
exactly.
around the corner from amusement park and you didn't even know it. And they're like, go around the corner.
Yeah,
You're going to the
exactly.
corner and you're at an amusement park. And there you go. I don't know. I mean, so I personally love co-creating with my guides because I'm super creative and I think it's really juicy and fun. And the more that you practice that, the more you'll start to trust them and trust that little intuitive guidance that you get of like, take a walk. I've had times where my guides have just said, take a walk. And on that walk, I meet someone and it ends up being like this amazing friendship that I couldn't have planned, you know, like, or an amazing business opportunity. I actually was in Whole Foods parking lot the other day and I just heard from my guides, go give that woman a message over there. And I'm like, really? I don't know her. This is so odd. And I'm wearing workout gear. I wasn't like particularly dressed great. My hair was a mess. But they just said, just go give her this message. They had a message. And so I just did it. I said, okay, fine. I went up to her and it was just amazing. I mean, it was amazing what opened up out of this little message. We had this amazing conversation, and she happens to be a therapist and she does EFT. And then we met for coffee and you know, and then we're meeting again next week and we've starting to
Mhm.
develop this incredible friendship and you know, we're supporting one another, we do similar work. So I mean, I couldn't have put that on my to-do list any better.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
right. Okay, so Angel, what do you do about people who come into your home and vent about their issues and leave their energy in your home? Oh, that's a great
Mm.
question. I would sage. That's what I would do. You can also imagine that there's a tornado of white light or purple light and just see it like cleansing the energy in your space. So many different practices. You can also have crystals in your home, open the windows, direct. You can talk to energy. You can say, all the negative energy in my space, leave now. And just say that a few times until you feel it lighten up in the space. And I'm sure Val, you do energy work in your, like, not energy, but you work energetically too, because you're coaching people. Do you have things that you do?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on if somebody is more auditory or visual or feeling oriented.
Hmm.
But I really do feel like those are the tools that we use to create our reality, is our senses, you know. And so if someone's more visual, I love the idea of just imagining like a tornado going around each crevice of the apartment and lifting the energy out. Because remember, I feel like other people's energy, it's a little bit like the myth that a vampire can only enter your space if you invite them in. So I feel like other people's energy is like that too. There's some unconscious way that we invited it in. So just as consciously, we can visualize it leaving, or we can, if you're more auditory and you're hearing the person's voice, you can literally like imagine that person's voice is is coming through a loudspeaker, and then turn the volume down, you know, and actually like imagine the sound is leaving the window, or turn on some music or something else that would get rid of the sound. Or if you're a more feeling oriented place, then what I would do is actually like feel where I feel that person's energy in my body, and then actually like feel it leaving my body. And because really the more we claim our power, to be able to cleanse ourselves of other people's stuff, the more we have a stronger, we're more in touch with that life force energy. Then, you know, other people's energy can't stay in us if we really strongly intend for it to leave in whatever way we engage our senses the most. So I'm a more visual person, so and feeling oriented, so I would actually just visualize it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Angel, it's like, just like play with it. What works for you? Try a couple things. Go to the spiritual store, see what you're drawn to. Are you drawn to the crystals? Are you drawn to the sage? Or, go to the toy store. Maybe you could have like a big bear in your apartment that's like, nobody's energy stays here, bear. As soon as it goes, you can just like ask the bear, please. Because everything is consciousness. Everything has energy, even objects. They all have consciousness held in them. So you could program a teddy bear to be your negative energy vibe, make the negative vibes leave the apartment person. So I love to encourage people to play with it, because again, when you start to play, you connect into you, like Val's saying, you connect into your personal power, and you connect to what's true for you. So for some people, crystals are true, like they like really align with them. And some people, imagery is really true for them. And so once you connect in there and you connect to what's true for you and what really aligns with you, that's your superpower. You can use that. That's your superpower. And once you know your superpowers, then nobody can get you. You're just like, no. You're like Lady Gaga, or I don't know, whoever your favorite star is, who's just like, I'm going to be me, and I don't care what people say, and nobody's getting to me, and that's that. So,
I
yeah.
love that. And
Yeah.
then I also think that a lot of times what happens when we take on someone else's energy is that there is a certain percentage of it that's ours, and it triggered our old belief systems and our old memories that we haven't fully cleared. And I think that's something that you're really gifted at. Like in our session together, you helped me identify some old beliefs that were there from when I was a little kid, like that I didn't even remember, and just identifying them and clearing those out. Like I believe that we attract, quote unquote, negative experiences into our life now that'll bring up old stuff so that we can clear the old stuff that's going on inside of us. And
Yes.
so I
Yes.
think sometimes, like if someone came into my house and they left negative energy, and it doesn't feel like when I clear it that it's gone, that it might be something from my past that's coming up in me that's ready to be cleared.
Yeah, that's so powerful. It's such a powerful place to stand because it can be so easy as empaths to go into a victim state of mind because it's like, oh, this isn't fair. Why do I have this negative person in my life? But yes, if we're anything that's in our reality, we have attracted to us in some level. And so even though you may think, oh, I can't see where maybe I have, say there's someone you're attracting in your life that's very angry and intensely angry, but you're not an intensely angry person. Well, it could be that inside of you, you're carrying around some rage that has not been fully seen and processed. And so, yeah, one of the things that I really love to do this for people because it took me a long time to realize that I had this ability, but once I discovered it, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. This is so helpful because if you're really committed to moving forward in your life and you do have maybe certain circumstances that you keep attracting in your life, whether it be, crappy relationships or, jobs that you hate, because this happened to me for years. I was attracting, guys that were not aligned with what I wanted. And I couldn't understand why. And it took me a long time of having a lot of conversations with a lot of coaches and learning a lot of distinction, like months and months and months. Well, I can get on the phone with you. I mean, anyone that's on the call, this live seminar right now, if you type in the box you'd like for me to look at your energy, I can literally tune in and see like, okay, what are a couple of the top patterns that are really blocking you right now that are ready to be released. And now sometimes the releasing process can take a little bit of time. It's something that you can do on your own. I basically share with people a simple way that you can work with clearing the energy further on your own, because sometimes your body wants to clear it all in one swoop but sometimes it might take several or many attempts, and that's okay. At least you didn't have to waste the time trying to identify what the belief system is because that can be tricky because our survival brain doesn't want us to see what's blocking us from expanding beyond it because it just wants us to stay in survival mode. So there will be a lot of resistance to seeing. It's very hard to see our own stuff. I mean, I have someone that helps me see my patterns because I can't see my own patterns, but yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the session that we had was really helpful for you to see some patterns that were blocking me. So I can attest to that. It's like it's like we're a fish in water and we don't know that we're in water because we can't see it.
Yeah, and it sometimes can be really surprising. It's like, really? That? Okay. I know that happened to you in your session a little, but the good news is, okay, well, at least I know what it is now.
Well, right. And I actually really felt like because those were the beliefs that were ready to clear,
Mm.
like that, like it just felt like, oh, now that I'm aware of it, it's easier for me to let that go and be more empowered.
Yeah, totally. And that's true. Often what comes up will be exactly what the person, you may have been already seeing glimpses of it, leading up to the call. A lot of times I'll have people say, oh my gosh, I've literally just been aware of this or somewhat aware of this. And so, yeah, it will come through because it really wants to be fully seen. And there's a desire in you to process it and release it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And Angel, you can feel free to let us know if that answered your question.
Yeah,
Um,
we went really
and
deep
if,
in
and
that one.
if anyone else has questions, I'll keep asking Alison questions. But feel free to let us know, or if there's a specific issue in your life that you want Alison to tune into what your limiting patterns might be, and she'll only do that by permission.
Yeah, but take advantage of this if you are watching live. Totally. I mean, because people pay me a lot, not like bazillions of dollars, but people pay quite a bit of money to get that information. So if you're here, yeah, take advantage of it for free now, and then you can start working on it because it's
Exactly.
really amazing to see what's running the show. And that's the thing. It's like if you are attracting negative people into your life, there's something running the show. Sorry, there's something that's underneath that's running the show.
It's kind of a metaphor right now. There's something underneath. Okay.
There's something underneath, yeah. And a lot of times it's not what you think it would be. It's very odd the mind is somewhat logical, but when it comes to protecting itself, it's a little bit illogical. Like it will
Oh,
make
totally.
really ridiculous stories that block us in very unrelated ways, that it's just like, what? I can't even, like, I had a client once who she was dealing with a little bit of trouble, like moving forward in life. And what came up was her body showed me an image of, this is way out there, but if you're listening, like, just bear with me. I mean, this is what I saw. I saw an image of her mom getting into a car accident when her mom was like 21, 22 years old. And it was really bad. She almost died from the accident. And I saw an image of her standing as like a soul that had not yet been born yet, my friend or my client, looking at her mom getting into this accident. And then I saw an image again of her being in her mom's belly, growing and absorbing the fear that her mom's
Mm.
body was still holding from that accident. It was crazy. Like, I was just like, oh my God. And she validated that her mom did indeed get into an accident when she was around 21 or 22, and it was really bad. She almost died. And, when this kind of stuff comes up, it's just, I mean, it's really beautiful and amazing. But her body was literally showing her that she actually was carrying fear
Mm.
about life that wasn't even hers. And it could identify the moment that, she took it on her, the moments when she was growing in her mom's belly. So we got to release that. And since then, she's taken some forward steps in her career towards, pursuing her dream career. And it's just so awesome to see her doing that. I mean, of course, she's, using other tools as well. Like, she's taking action. I mean, when we release energy, it's not like magically everything is
No, of
like
course. I mean, it
perfect.
just
We have to
becomes
take action.
easier to take the actions that you want to take anyway.
Yeah, like I just see her living out loud in a bigger way, and not getting as stopped by the fear, so much stopped by the fear. So, but I mean, who would have known? Like, I don't know that we could have come up with that in a conversation. So,
Yeah,
because
right.
the
No, it's
body
not
is
something that your conscious mind can identify.
yeah, it's a subconscious. Your body has so much awareness on a deep, deep subconscious level that it can reveal. And when we just dive deep into that body's subconscious awareness, we can see a lot of things that would be hard to access on a conscious level. So
No,
yeah.
exactly. I can totally, that's a great example. I love hearing examples. I mean, I remember in one of the sessions that we did, I think it was a couple of years ago, where we identified this stuck area in my apartment where I didn't like that part of my apartment. And that was actually keeping me from feeling as energized when I was there. And I didn't even
That's amazing.
realize it. And then I revamped that area of my apartment, and like I felt more energized. I mean, it's like you have no idea what's keeping you held back.
Wow, I totally remember that. Yeah, it's sometimes the weirdest stuff that you would never think of. And that's a perfect example of like your stuff having consciousness. So even the way, yeah, the things in your apartment are arranged, like your TV may not like where it's sitting. It maybe would prefer to be in a different room, and that would make the energy in your apartment feel a lot better. So I mean, that's like really, deep down the
Yeah, or you could,
woo
I
path.
mean, if you're
But
more scientific thinking, then you might think about it like that your unconscious mind doesn't like the way that the TV is placed or
exactly.
whatever it is. But it's like however you want to look at it, like, you really are influenced by your environment. And so I want to keep bringing it back to um, what is this important skill that you want to share, that empathic creatives need to actually be able to share their gifts without getting sidetracked by everyone else's energy and helping everyone else around
Mm.
them.
Yeah, so the skill is playful awareness. So playfully being aware, like being humored by the awareness that you're getting. We are actually all at least 1,000% more aware than we believe that we are. Truly. I mean, I've honed my awareness and I've spent a lot of years doing that, but everyone out there has awareness. We all have awareness. So we can all tune into things like, and we all really know what's going on. It's just, are you willing to like take the awareness, be in, and really like allow it in? And if you can do that playfully, if you can do that with humor, because sometimes we have awareness and it doesn't feel very good at first. It's like, oh man, really? That old thing? I was in therapy for that for 5 years. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't what like what do you, I thought I worked through that. It's okay. It's just another layer of it that wants to clear away, or a different
Exactly.
expression. So yeah, playful awareness and anything that you can do to expand your awareness. There's so many different ways to do that. I mean, having a session with me is fun and it's awesome, and I can help you expedite the process really quickly. But I'm also a big believer in like discovering the path that really serves you. So meditation class, yoga, dance, whatever it is, belly dance actually. Like
I know. I really
I
want to
love
take
belly
belly
dance.
dance classes.
Yeah, me too. There's actually an amazing class on Tuesday nights at Champion Studios. So it's like 38th or something and 6 or 7. So kind of closer to you. As a side note, I'm hoping
We
to
can,
go next.
I'd
Actually, I
love
have,
to talk about that more offline.
yeah, this is totally off topic. But yeah, in a couple months, I have a class on right now, Tuesday nights. But, anyways, yeah, belly dance is because you have to focus and the movements are so small, so subtle that you're focusing really in a fine-tuned way, and you're playing with your body, which we know we've talked about a lot, that once you get more in your body you can be a lot more aware, because our
Exactly.
mind is like a trickster in a lot of ways, wants to trick us. So yeah,
Exactly.
playful awareness.
And speak a little more about what happens when you actually own what's going on rather than pretending that you're happy when you're not, but really owning, like, no, actually, this is that pattern that I was working through in therapy and I thought I got rid of it, but there it is. Or I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling anger, and being real about it.
Yeah. And I just noticed that Angel says, I like the tornado idea. Awesome. Try it on. Let us know what happens. You might
Yeah.
email Val or email me or post on our Facebook pages. I'm curious to know what happens. And it could be any color too. You can make it purple, white, whatever. So, yeah, when we own what's really going on for us, it's so powerful. I mean, I know there's been a lot of years' time when I was like, I'm a high vibe person. I'm not angry. Like I've done a lot of therapy and coaching, and, I'm fine. And like, I don't get triggered anymore because I have lots of great tools. But it just blocks us when we don't really just get real with exactly what's there. So when we can own what's there, we're just basically taking the robot block out of the way, and we're allowing ourselves to move forward with a lot more velocity and a lot more, just a lot quicker. I mean, what's that quote? There's one of the card decks that I have. It says something like, "Let yourself be real with your experience, because what do you think? Someone climbed to the top of Mount Everest and they didn't drop an F-bomb once in a while?" Like, I don't know. It's just this funny, I mean, horrible quote of the card. But
It's
basically, the point is
cute.
like, sometimes it's like spiritual people were like, "Oh, I don't swear," or "I'm not angry," or, and that's just a load of bullshit. I'm sorry, but it really is like, we all get angry. And I know a lot of people that are way along on their spiritual practice and their path. And the ones that I love being around the most are the ones that are real about the fact that they have anger, and
Right,
they just have
exactly.
learned how to process it in a way that doesn't hurt other people and doesn't hurt themselves. So,
Right, exactly.
um,
I agree. And then
mhm.
once you know what you're feeling, then like I said, you also know your desires, because if you're not feeling what you're feeling, then you don't know what's missing that you could then learn how to add, or what it is that you want and what it is that you desire. So
I love that.
keep
I
bringing
know.
it back to that.
Yeah, in the group program that you led that I was taking, I loved when we got to go in and do the practice of greeting our emotion and talking to it and really finding out like what's the desire behind this emotion. Yeah. So yeah, that's the quickest way. If you want to be aligned with your desires and your true self, and just be real with what's there. What's the pile of poop
Right,
on the floor that
exactly.
you're
Because
you're dealing
yeah,
with?
that's the fertilizer for the flowers.
Yes, exactly.
And it doesn't always feel good, but that's just the what you resist persists, right? So if you're resisting feeling bad for a few moments and you stop resisting it, it doesn't actually have to take that long to move through it.
Exactly. I had this experience just 2 days ago where I like to use right now. I mean, I have a few different tools, but right now I use EFT, like the tapping to just acknowledge something is there. And, there's visualization processes that Val uses that are amazing. I just happen to be using that right now for whatever reason because it works for me.
Yeah, I mean, all
Yoga,
EFT is great.
Yeah, I woke up and I was feeling heavy, and honestly I was like, oh my god, this, what am I doing with my life? Like I was having really ridiculous thoughts, like just like I should just quit and like find a job. I mean, and I was like, these are not even my thoughts. I don't even think these are my thoughts, but I don't even know what was going on. But I was so deep inside of this funk. I mean, I woke up in a total funk. And it's funny, I talked to other people that day that were like, yeah, I woke up in a funk too. I think it was just in the air. There was a funk in the air, and I woke up inside of it. But I was resisting it. I'm thinking, this is crazy. How could I possibly be having these thoughts? I love what I do. And like, it's amazing. And there are people that get to work with me whose lives change, and it's so awesome. Like, so I just said, I'm going to just tap. And I just, started with the statement, like, even though I just hate my life right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And even though it feels like everything is falling apart right now and I have no idea what my next step is, I deeply and completely love it myself. And I spent 2 minutes just doing the tapping process. And then right after that, I got an idea of the next action I could take that then spurred on like 10 more actions, and some new clients coming to me that were really excited about what I had to offer. And it literally just took 2 minutes of being real with myself about what I was experiencing. And that just opened up this floodgate of exciting opportunities. So, yeah, the more that we can playfully embrace everything, it's always on the other side, right there. It's just right there on the other side.
That's such an empowering story, and I love
Yeah.
hearing you share it because I can really feel your commitment to really getting to that next step that's on the other side and doing whatever it takes to move through whatever's in the way. So, and I know that
Yes.
that's what you stand for.
Yeah, I stand for that for all of us, because it's always on the other side of the fear and the doubt and the shame that true like joy exists, right? Brene Brown talks about this a lot, that you can't have true joy, like real full body joy, without a little bit of fear, without a little bit of shame, without a little bit of discomfort. And the more that we can, all human beings can be okay with that and practice that, like just think of, I mean, the world will become a playground. So,
Right, exactly.
yeah.
I love that. And would you say you have like a go-to practice or modality that you do or a mindset shift that you do whenever you get bogged down by other people's heavy energies or when you wake up in the morning like that? Like, is
Yeah.
it EFT or do you just like tune into your intuition and say what practice would be the most grounding where I could reclaim my own power right now?
I usually try to feel in. I try to stay away from like too many like rigid, because then I find sometimes the box that I create kind of boxes me in. So, but for the most part, I find that exercising, moving my body is just, it's like a foundational thing that I do every day because it really just works for me. And I tend to like really aerobic cardio, like sweaty, getting really sweaty. And that always, gets me out of my head. But on the same token, that for there was a period in my life where that was like a vice for me of just trying to escape, So I think it really depends on the moment. And, again, like developing a toolkit that you have for yourself where you can kind of feel into like what's going to support me the most. Because if I had gone for a run, right, that day, which actually I don't even know that I could have, I would have been forcing myself and I would have been like, oh, like, and I still would have been carrying that same energy. So really what was called for in that moment was for me to be with myself and be real with what was happening and be okay with that and
Yeah.
relax myself in the process of it. So I have like sort of 5 or 6 tools that I'm always like tossing around and playing with and juggling and like this one, that one. So yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what you do with your clients is help them develop their own toolkit. So I'd
Yes.
love to hear you talk about more what is a body clearing and what do you do with your clients and what are you offering to people who are watching this either live or watching the replay?
Yeah. So I have a few different ways to work with me. I have something called a soul session, which is also known as a body clearing. And that's really more of, that's for you if you don't really feel the need to talk a lot about what you're going through, but you would like to have me tune in to you and really feel into the patterns and the emotions that are being held. And then we actually like relax your body through tapping, and then your body helps to release them gently. And you come away from with that with some supportive clearings that you get to work with on your own. So yeah, so that's one way that I work. And then I also work with coaching, and I infuse the clearing, the energy clearing and the coaching. And that's really for you if you're an empath and you know that you're ready, like you're putting a stake in the ground, you're tired of carrying around other people's emotions, you're tired of living in other people's realities and always having to help people and be that person that's like, I'm going to help you, I'm going to save you, and getting nothing back in return. So when you know that you're ready to actually claim your life and claim living aligned with your true self and your playful, vibrant, creative self, I have 3 and 7 month programs. So for people that are really seriously interested in that, I put a link at the top of, or in the chat, and it's to my calendar. And so you could go in and book a discovery session, and that's a free complimentary 45 minutes where we can play, we can explore, we can see what's blocking you. I can tell you about the coaching packages that I offer, and you can get a little sample energy clearing and see, what you want to commit to. So yeah, that's the different ways that I work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I can just really attest to Alison's strong intuition. Like when we had a session a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't realize, I mean, you just kind of tapped into memories that I didn't even realize were there, that were blocking me, that happened when I was a child, that didn't even seem like you said, it was like, what, that? It was like when I was 10, I was, had a crush on a boy and he said something mean to me. And I was like, what? Like, oh yeah, I remember that. But how is that holding me back now? And you really helped me to identify the belief system that I had created out of that moment and how it was holding me back now, even when I'm like approaching people doing networking, how I was like holding on to this fear that I didn't even realize. And when I released it, then I really felt like I was freer and I had more attention focused on genuine connections with people. And I had no idea that any of that was even going on, So I just, I'm always impressed with your intuition and how much you can identify, what's really going on underneath the surface for people and just really identify what's ready to be cleared.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it comes truly from a deep commitment of just knowing on like such a deep level what it's like to be blocked by those things. I mean, I spent so many years stopped and blocked and not creating, and I was depressed. Honestly, I was really depressed, and in jobs that I hated. That, like, I had a job once where I literally worked in a windowless room filing doctor's files in an insurance company, and it was through a temp agency and I didn't even have health benefits. I was working at a health insurance company and I didn't have health benefits. Like, that was how dark. I was literally in a dark room. I was in a dark hole with it was so, I have to laugh about it now, but honestly, like when I think back to what it felt like to be, reading a lot of books on spirituality, but not having awareness around my patterns and not knowing how to clear them, and like living inside of that kind of reality. I mean, when I get on the phone with someone, I'm so committed that you release what's in the way, because I know none of us want to be caught up in those kinds of, we're here, we're awesome. Empaths are here to play and to sparkle and to shine and to raise the vibration of the planet. I mean, come on, we need it. Like, the planet needs a vibrational lift here, people. So
exactly,
if you're carrying the heavy, dense energy, you can't be that person. And when you get to be that sparkly version of you, it's so much more fun to be alive, like life can actually be enjoyable. So yeah, so thank you. I mean, I don't like to take full credit for my intuition because I totally know that my guides are helping me out. And I've worked really hard and studied a long time and refined it and, align everything in my world, because I'm so committed that people don't have to stay stuck. It's just the worst place to be.
Exactly.
So it's totally my joy to offer it. So if you're on the call, get in my calendar link, scoop it up. It up.
Definitely. And if you're watching,
for having me.
Well,
today.
of course.
Yeah.
I love your sparkly energy. And I agree. I mean, I'm an empath too, and it's really been through coming back into my own body and really, that the gift of empaths is really in being able to have such a strong intuition and such a strong, sense of empathy and connection with everything around them. And when we learn how to come back to ourselves and have such a strong connection to everything inside of us, and all of the spiritual energies above and below us that are helpful, it's like that's such a total transformation when we can be so connected to our true selves, and I like to talk about it as being connected vertically rather than just horizontally. um,
Yeah, totally. The up
and
and
I
down.
know that the tools that you teach are really empowering, so I just want
Yeah.
to get your message out into the world. And so I will also post the link to Alison's calendar in the YouTube replay. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find that in the comments below this video. And I'm just really excited to have shared this. And if you happen to be watching live and you have another question, this is your last chance to ask it.
Last call.
Oh
Dance while we're waiting.
yeah, just while I'm sitting in a
I kind
chair.
of
But
wonder where Dingo is. He disappeared. He was
oh yeah, he
like,
wanted to play with you. Actually,
this will be his playtime.
my partner and I just maybe you want to join us next Friday night. We're gonna go to the Cat Cafe. Have you ever been there?
Oh my
It's like
god! Yes, I've heard of it. I want to go so badly.
yeah, it's like an internet cafe in the East Village where they have cats that you can play with while you work. Oh, I don't think I'll get very much work done there. I think I'll just be playing with the cats. But you're welcome to join us. I'll send
I
you
love it. Yeah,
the
totally. So
information.
I've been wanting to go there. Actually, one of my friends wanted to get a job there, and I'll have to tell her, yeah, if I go. So,
Yay.
yeah. All right. I think
Okay.
everyone has popped out. Let me see. We have one live person left. So thank you for staying till the very, very, very end. Thank you, everyone. Angel for asking a question. Thank you, Val, for asking so many juicy, amazing questions. It was really fun to go in and just, yeah,
Well,
share
thanks for
this
sharing your
information.
wonderful light with everyone. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Mwah.